It's a tricky time for MMORPGs at the moment. The shift to free-to-play models works well for many developers, but it's also hard for new MMOs to stand out in the crowd.
Skyforge, also free-to-play, is trying a few things to be different. We recently jumped into the beta.
All right, listen up. To clear the town of enemies and evacuate the civilians. Keep your eyes open and be careful. We're not immortal. Questions? All right then.
After a quick battle, you die. But being an immortal, you wake up in a pile of corpses and your adventure begins. You are a protector of the world, Aelion. A group called Reapers of Death have a new leader, and this organization is bad for regular non-immortals.
Someone is giving orders to the Reapers? They've always been so uncoordinated. If they have a leader now, they've become a very serious threat.
Your first objective is to investigate an enemy called Gravedigger.
You can hold your own against a couple of us.
You're transported to a futuristic space station hub world where giant halos are the fashion of the time.
Right. This is my holographic form.
I like the religious angle on this, Hex. I think it works, that you're one of many gods.
Immortality. It is something we don't yet fully understand.
And the more people you help and that believe in you, the more your power grows.
Yeah, I like the theme too, although I'm yet to see any of these people that I'm supposed to be helping. It's a cool concept, it's just a shame that it all comes across a little bit naff.
Greetings. I've heard about your bravery.
I know this is only in beta, but yeah, there's some pretty bad voice acting all around.
I saw him spare a mortal's life, when he easily could have killed them. It's the truth.
But you had an encounter with the Gravedigger. The enemy is still at large, but his time is running out.
There are some interesting ideas in the gameplay though. For example, you can change your class at any time, so you can go from DPS to heals to tank in just a few clicks. I found that combat to be instantly enjoyable, and I think it's the highlight for us so far.
Yeah, the controls are interesting and unique as well, lots of clicking, which is good. Some classes rely on mouse-click combos, such as the Paladin, who is all about defense and summoning lightning in the middle of combat. I also really liked the Berserker, who has a sort of chainsaw sword and a brutal finisher.
How good are the finishes? When an enemy's on low health, you can just hit one button and doom them. I especially liked the Gunner's Balls of Death.
I love how the enemies just run away as soon as they see them.
The Gunner is absolutely my favorite class so far. I feel like such an action hero, pulling out that big gun and just spraying plasma everywhere.
You are not allowed here.
And then switching to an energy rifle, laying down artillery missiles. So cool. Ping is a big issue though. I couldn't get a ping below 200, which made switching weapons in the middle of combat infuriating.
Yeah, you really notice it out in the world too, even in solo instances, although that may just be a beta thing. Along with combos, you'll also need to charge some abilities, dodge and avoid AoEs, the usual kind of stuff. But even in our short play, you can tell there's a lot of underlying strategy to the fights, and each class plays really differently.
Yeah, there's some interesting mechanics, isn't there? Such as how you can line up enemies and shoot through them. Love that. Then, after a few hours of play, you're introduced to a whole stack of new classes. Sadly, they all were locked behind what looks like a lot of grinding.
Yeah, I mean, maybe upon release you can pay to unlock them as part of the business model, which would make sense. So, the combat is interesting and the idea is sound, but I don't know, the art style seems a little bit directionless to me.
The capital in all its beauty. Nothing else like it.
Yep.
What would you call this? Like Roman Empire sci-fi?
Yeah, maybe. It's a bit all over the shop, isn't it? It's kind of like a whole bunch of characters came together from various JRPGs just to play this.
So do it already.
Yeah, it just seems like none of the characters' costumes are from the same world. I do love that you can change your outfit at any time, but some of the gear is verging into Saints Row territory.
Yeah, when you're in an intense discussion about the fate of the world and then it cuts out to reveal that you're in your dad clothes, it does take you out of the moment a bit.
Please, Go and find out what happened there. It would be too dangerous for a novice, but not for you. All I know is that it's no ordinary threat.
Nice threads, Bajo.
I'm pretty sexy.
Very sensible. Also, what's with the mounts? What is that?
So strange. Nick Boy had a great point too after playing this on Pocket. He noticed that in the character customization, you can make a fairly unattractive man, which of course is something I love to do, but it's nearly impossible to do the same with the female models.
This game has some interesting sliders. I thought the female butt slap was a little bit in poor taste. But then I saw the male version. I guess everyone's got a shake dad booty.
It's good to see equal sexy butt representation, at least in games, Hex. Did you ever notice, though, whenever you come across a female NPC and you start a conversation, their boobs just do this little slight jiggle.
Dig into the middle?
Yeah, it's a bit weird, isn't it?
I thought I was going crazy.
Yeah.
So far, only one immortal. Interested in the Gravedigger's story?
I mean, it's very subtle, and I'm sure it's just some weird game physics thing, but it was really distracting for me every time.
So, would you like to change your appearance?
Meanwhile, they have minds of their own in the character creator, too. It's very interesting physics going on there, Bajo. The look of the world itself is pretty inconsistent. Some areas are quite nice to look at, others are a bit bland and uninspired. This isn't truly open world, it's a little bit more like Star Trek Online, where you beam down to various small, self-contained locations. I just didn't enjoy being in this world, Bajo. It doesn't have the production values that we're used to from recent MMOs.
Yeah, it's such a shame. That intro zone looked amazing. But then almost all the other areas we visited felt small for an MMO and pretty bland. The combat did pull me through for a while though. And I do like that you can choose to join instances in a group or solo just from that first menu. The biggest issue I have with this game though, Hex, is its unlock tree. It's called the Ascension Atlas, the coming together of mind and body. But each individual class has a huge tree to unlock, and it just seems a bit pointless because it's also very linear.
Yeah, and it's massive too, isn't it? As each class has their own tree, I struggled to make choices about going hard on one class or spreading out points between a few.
Yeah, it's a frustrating decision for the player to have to make so early on, but I guess that's what you get when you can be any class you want at the click of a button. So Hex, do you think this MMO will work?
Well, it has some inspired ideas with the classes, but I just don't think this world is modern and interesting enough to hold people's interest for long.
Yeah, I agree with you, but I can't deny that my interest has peaked just because of that combat alone. And also, this felt like a fairly rough beta, so I think maybe the polish of the final version could bring everything together.